Greetings. Uh, I I really don't want to discuss politics on this channel. Now, of course, I have political opinions, I have political views, but I'd much rather, restrict this channel to discussing religion and language. And I really want to try to avoid discussing politics on this channel. But I saw this tweet, which you see on your screen, and I honestly felt compelled to make a short video on this topic. And hopefully this will be a very rare political video on this channel. I don't want to make too many of these. But nonetheless, for those who know me, I have been passionate about the crisis in Syria for the last, I don't know, nearly 12 years at this point. And so this tweet, it really depresses me, right? It's from an account called Alawite Muslim Defense League. Now, I have no idea who maintains that account. I have no idea if it's run by an Alawi or not. But honestly, it really doesn't matter at this point. You see, the point of the tweet is that now that the secular Syrian government has fallen and Takfiris are slaughtering Alawis, the Alawis need their own state, which would be willing to be allied with Israel. And, I see that, and it makes me sad because I know that this sort of thing, this idea, has been more than 30 years in the making, and I'd like to show that in this video. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not casting aspersions on the author of the tweet. I'm not trying to say anything negative about their sincerity. Again, I don't know who that author is, but the process, separate from the author of that tweet, the process of forces outside of Syria fomenting a sectarian conflict in the country so that Syria can basically be, balkanized and cut up into smaller countries along religious lines or ethnic lines, sort of like what happened with the Yugoslavia, hence balkanization, right? That sort of idea has been decades in the making. And many Syrians themselves have long known that this was the intention. And to show that, I'd like to show a clip of something Bashar al-Jaafari, Syria's permanent representative to the UN, said at the United Nations back in August of 2013. So this is more than 11 years ago. Here, listen to this.
The only way to achieve the Jewishness of Israel is by creating similar experiences in the area based on sectarian and confessional examples. This is why the Western diplomacies are encouraging the creation and the establishment of new mini-states in the area based on religion, sectarian and confessional bases.
So 11 and a half years ago, members of the Syrian government were already talking about the intentions of foreign powers, right? That foreign powers intended to carve up the country into mini-states along sectarian lines, right? But even back then, back in 2013, that idea was already more than 20 years in the making. And to show that, I'd like to show you an article from the February 1993 issue of the Atlantic Monthly. And for a magazine article, which is more than 30 years old, I have to turn to microfilm, hence the machine you see here. And this is the issue that I want to look at. Again, this is the February 1993 issue of the Atlantic Monthly, of the Atlantic. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to page 22. So bear with me here for a moment. And this is the article in question. It's an article by Robert Kaplan titled Syria Identity Crisis. Now, if you'd like to read this article in its entirety, I'll share a link in the description, but it's behind the subscriber wall, so you can also hit me up on Facebook, and I'll share a PDF of the entire article with you. It's only like 4 pages long. But whatever the case, in this video, I want to focus on something that's found on the last page of the article, at the end of the article, on page 27. So let's turn to that now. So here we are. This is page 27, which is where the article ends. And I want to show something that appears at the top of the last column on this page. Again, page 27. So this is what I wanted to show you. Now, remember, this is an article on Syria, which was published back in 1993, more than 30 years ago. Here, listen to this. Quote, some Middle East specialists mutter about the possibility that a future Alawite state will be carved out of Syria. Based in mountainous Latakia, it would be a refuge for Alawites after Assad passes from the scene and Muslim fundamentalists, Sunnis that is, take over the government. This state would be supported not only by Lebanese Maronites, but also by the Israeli Secret Service, which would see no contradiction in aiding former members of Assad's regime against the Sunni Arab government in Damascus, end quote. And that's it. That's all I wanted to show. That's why I said that that recent tweet that you saw proposing an Alawi state aligned with Israel, that tweet was proposing an idea which was decades in the making. And when I think about the timeline, I just find it so sad and depressing, right? And I really don't want to say more at this time, but I hope you at least found this video informative. And with that, I'll close it here. And to all, I'll say God bless.